Hey, I'm Chris. Thank you for joining us on the Southwest Florida Business Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Brennen from Detailers of Naples, and we dig into the backstory of how this got started from power washing, grills, and backyards, all the way into the business it is now. And we also dive into the different shifts that these businesses have taken, how he seized on these different opportunities. And then we also dig into what it was like to take it to the next level, to actually get a physical location. Now they're outgrowing that and going into a huge location upcoming here in the next year, probably actually within the next 3 or 4 months. And then we walk through kind of the different ways they actually found to work with dealerships to increase dealerships' bottom line, to increase their sales revenue by a significant amount when it comes to detailing, and still deliver a better, high-quality detailing job for those end customers. So it makes the dealers more money, and it makes the dealers' customers happier. So it's a win-win, and it's very interesting to see how they went through that process and how they pulled it off. So I hope you enjoy this episode with Brennen from Detailers of Naples. This episode is brought to you by Southwest Florida Podcasts. If you're a business in Southwest Florida and you want to use a podcast to grow your business, scan the QR code on your screen or visit the link in the show notes at www.swflpodcast.com. Enjoy the show. Brennen, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it. So let's just dig right into it. Detailers of Naples. Tell me about it. What is the company? And then we'll kind of go through the history and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Detailers of Naples specializes in vehicle protection. We started off doing mobile detailing and washing, all the way from your basic Tahoe all the way to the Ferrari. Kind of got our name in the community by doing a unique way of doing that. We did a kind of an Amazon subscription type style mobile service. For high-level executives, business owners. That's kind of who I targeted first, and then did that for about 5-6 years, and then got into the protection side of the world, which is way bigger than the washing. Everybody can take a bucket, put some water and soap in there, and say, "Hey, I'm a detailer."
Sure.
And then obviously, as you know, in Naples, the car market here is unbeatable.
It's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, and every time you think you've seen it all, somebody else has something bigger and better. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we grew into the protection side of things about 3 years ago. Still do, mobile stuff and maintenance and detailing and, general, hey, I need my car cleaned. But about 85-90% of our business is, brand new vehicle protection, paint protection film, ceramic coatings, ceramic window tints, vinyl. We've started dabbling in this year. We kind of are aiming to do some stuff with our new facility for full car vinyl wraps as well. Right now we're only doing little things like stripes and logos and such. But yeah, we really focus on this automotive protection, and then the maintenance side after that. Once your car is protected, it's fully wrapped, it's tinted. We come out to your house every week and make sure that stays looking right.
Sweet. Okay. And I mean, you're working on. I came to the shop. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
But you're working on some high end vehicles.
Yeah.
Like it's 100, 150, 200,000 plus dollar cars, and some of the work you guys are doing is really in depth. It's it almost seems like a science to it. It's not just like, hey, let's like slap this film on and come back later. Yeah. It's you've got CAD drawings, all these designs. Yeah. You had to hire specialists to relocate from Colorado.
Yeah.
It's an impressive shop, man. Yeah. So
Thank you.
Thanks for showing it to me.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
So before we get into all the nitty gritty of what you guys do, at the business now, one thing that I thought was really cool when I first met you was the story of how all this got started with Blue Diamond, and then ultimately what that became. So how did that get started? What was that? And then how did that turn into what it is now?
So Blue Diamond was a plan B to my plan A, if that makes sense.
Okay.
When I was about 17 years old, I was finishing high school. I had a full-time job. I worked at which not a lot of people know unless you knew me back then, but I had a full-time job at Smoothie King. Crazy enough, it was my one and only job. So I worked 40 hours a week there to to get a class called co-op, which was a class that got you out of school 2 hours early, like 2 or 3 times a week. So I worked 40 hours a week there to get out 2 or 3 times a week to go door knock for Blue Diamond and detailers. But the Blue Diamond was kind of a plan B because the detailers wasn't really taking off the way I wanted it to. And a lot of that came down to being in school, unfortunately, and not having time. And, I had a short window when I got out to make things happen or go wash someone's car in the heat at 3 o'clock, which just didn't work out. So, but the clients that I did already acquire back in those times, I would do something for them on the weekend, let's say, and when I was done, they said, hey, can you, when you're done here doing my car, can you mind coming out back to my patio and power washing my patio and cleaning my grill? And I'm like, sure, yeah, why not? And those are the type of people that usually you clean their grill and they give you $500 for cleaning their grill. So I did that for a few times until I kind of sparked an idea like, hey, maybe this is a direction that I need to start pursuing a little bit more instead of the detailing. Because once I figured out basically a good clientele database or my list, I realized these people are, they trust you, they want to pay for convenience. So even though you're not a grill cleaner or a power washer, they would rather pay you the extra money than find some random dude off Google to come out and then be like, hey, is this guy going to steal something in my house? Can I give him my garage code, my alarm code, et cetera. So I started Blue Diamond, came up with a name, did some Vista print, rendezvous business cards, a little cheap website. Did that for literally a month and started power washing. And I realized how much it sucked and I hated it. I told myself I would never, ever power wash ever again. I did houses on the water that were 10, 15,000 square feet that took me days cleaning gutters and window seals. I mean, stuff that people was, I don't really get to explain the process too much. I mean, stuff that was literally miserable. You're soaked in water. It's coming down, back on you because you're shooting up into the ceiling or the air, and it's coming back on you. You're just soaked. Your shoes are soaked. Your socks are soaked, and you're just coming back and you're like, is this even worth it? Like, what's going on here? So I did that for about a month. Realized that that was not going to be my gig. Tried to hire some friends of mine. Didn't work out either. And then right about that time, the detailing side kind of took a turn for the best and started getting some traction. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to kind of push that to the side and
focus on the detailing.
Right. And that's what I really wanted to do. I enjoy cars. I love cars. And so, to go and clean them and take care of people's exotics and have a relationship. I'm a huge relationship guy. I'm a huge believer in relationships are what build businesses and companies. So that was really what I wanted to do because I felt like I could have more of a relationship and bond to you with your car than your gutter and your window seals. And so I kind of put that to the side a little bit. And the detailing side just took off. Weirdly enough, I kept the Blue Diamond LLC for about 2 years after that. Graduated high school, didn't do any college. Then about two years ago, I just realized that there was 2.5 years ago, I realized that there's a major gap in Naples of like, I would go to these guys' houses. You're talking, 30, 40, 50 plus $1 million houses. And they have like cookie cutter garages. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, Jerry, I know like Jerry doesn't do anything that's not extravagant. Why does your garage look like Jeffrey's down the street? It doesn't make any sense.
Where you're parking a $250,000 car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So kind of got my mind rolling again on the Blue Diamond thing and ended up meeting who's now my business partner, Alan, through some mutual friends. And he has a construction background. And at the time he was kind of dabbling looking for a new career. And I said, hey, I have this very, very rough idea that I literally just thought about. You let me know if it's crazy or if you are interested in it. And we sat down and talked about it for, I think our first meeting was downtown on Fifth Avenue. We literally talked for like 3 or 4 hours about just the directions. And originally we actually were going to do more of a service-based cleaning, power washing gig again because we thought we could duplicate some. At this point, I had a decent clientele list. I wasn't so much in the shop environment yet. For detailers, but I had a very big clientele database of C-level executives, local big business owners, all the way down from Comcast CEO, T-Mobile CEOs. I had all those people on my personal cell phone.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, let's just try to duplicate, see if these guys want to get their houses on a maintenance plan, come out and clean their garages, whatever. Once we got into it, we realized that was not going to be the goal again. That the goal was going to be custom garages and man caves and just making the most badass custom garage. You got a red Ferrari or you got a red Porsche and you're all about your Porsche, then your garage should be all Porsched out. It should not look like the dudes 3 streets over that got the same company to do it and they just say, hey, here's option A, B, and C. Pick which one you want out of the book. So we did some stuff, went around, bought some trucks, took about 2 or 3 months to kind of get everything together. Hired someone to do the website, a legit operation. And then, we launched it. And the first year was a lot of trial and error. We didn't do much marketing just because we were dipping into our current database and research, or clientele list that we had. So the first year was just trying to figure out maybe more so what did people actually want in their garage.
Versus like investing all this time to say, hey, here's what we do. It's more of, hey guys, what do you actually need? And then see what people need, find the pattern, and then actually build into that.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So we spent that time doing that. And then really, the major obstacle there was finding the vendors and companies to do bike racks and stuff like that. It's hard to do that. A lot of people during those times weren't answering their phones. I remember this is right before pre-COVID. Sorry. So people weren't answering their phones, or it was tough to find a catalog and build a catalog of, hey, here's all the things we do, here's the companies we've provided. So that took a lot of struggle and time to find that as well. Then I would say that after that first year, we found our groove of, we found our epoxy guy, and we found our cabinets, and we found our bike racks, and we found the lighting, and we actually had a list of services like, hey, here you go, here's all of our preferred items. That allowed us to go into someone's garage and say, oh, you're a golfer? Okay, well, you need some of the slat wall and put all your golf clubs here, and you can organize your golf balls here. Or you're a biker? Okay, well, we can put all your bikes. We have a client who's, you might even recognize his house. He's building the largest house in Naples right now. His name's Peter Gilligan. He's the largest Canadian home builder in Canada, and he's expanding his operation down to Florida, Texas, and like the Carolinas, I want to say. So for the last 2 years, he broke the record about 2 years ago. He bulldozed, I want to say it was 3 houses on the water, like on the ocean, not a canal, on the ocean. Bought one of them for, I want to say it was $60, $70 million, bulldozed it the next day. Bought the lot across the street because in Port Royal you can't park cars on the road, so they bought the house across the street, bulldozed it for construction parking. So he was about $100 million in before he even broke ground on a new house, to tearing down the old houses to make room for his house. My point of the story is he is a super advocate biker. You walk into his garage currently in Port Royal at a smaller house, there's no joke, 100 bikes on his wall.
Yeah.
So you have people like that are hardcore bikers. They're going to put up an entire garage around biking. You have people that are hardcore Porsche enthusiasts. You're going to have people that have Porsche crests all on their floor, their walls, their cabinets. Especially the Porsche group down here is a cult. So they all like Porsche stuff. They like they like to be known. Hey, I have a Porsche. Blue Diamond, fast forward to now is really, and now there's a ton of man cave storage facilities on every street. They're popping up just like, the cubicle, like the normal storage cubicles that you'd find. So we're doing a ton of those, a ton of like the ultimate garages. When they first popped up, we did probably half of those when they first popped up. Those are all full now, and they're actually building some more. So as these car condos are popping up, we're teaming up with them, joining up. There's one by Chick-fil-A that's happening right now that we're teaming up with, and we're going to be the guys that come in and, when you do your build out, we're going to build it out for you.
Nice.
But it's been a business that's allowed me to wear both hats, right? So you go to someone's house for their garage, and they probably have a nice car, and vice versa. They bring their car to you to get worked on. They probably need a nice garage or already have one that they want to add to. So it's been a business that you've been able to finagle your way into somebody's environment one way or the other, and then they actually enjoy it. Like the best thing ever is like having someone's car done in their garage, because every day they walk out and go, oh wow, this company, the same people did this. Like, this is what I enjoy every day. I come out to my garage, look at it, or I hang out in my garage, and then I get to get in my car that's PPF coded and tinted, by the same people. So it's a unique system that it brings a plus to both sides of the company, both companies, because there's no one else in Naples that has the ability to make your garage one of a kind in your car.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting that you started one, then had to switch to the other, and then you switched back to the detailers, and then this thing came back up. So, all right. So let's go back to that switch between going from Blue Diamond to detailer. So what was the opportunity that you saw to actually go back and start pursuing this full time?
The Blue Diamond? You're talking about for the detailers?
For the detailers. So going from Blue Diamond back to detailers.
Honestly, I think it was my time. Right about that time, I was graduating high school. So I was not going to be continuing working at Smoothie King. So I immediately cut that out of my life because that was just a tool for me that I was using at the time. I remember, I was getting this, I have all my paychecks saved from there. So I was working 40 hours, getting paid, $200 a week to make some smoothies. But, I, at the same time, I remember like on Sundays, I would be the one opening the store, but I would be going at 6 a.m. to wash a car, shower, and then go back to the Smoothie King to open up the store. So I use it as a tool, which took my time. So as I graduated high school, I cut Smoothie King out, cut school out, obviously. I think it was the time that created an opportunity for me to actually go out. Basically what I did when I was out of school is I just targeted neighborhoods. So I would go find a neighborhood. I would literally park my car somewhere far, far away that I had to purposely walk to. Like I couldn't just get to my car and be like, oh man, this sucks. It's hot today. I'm out of here. I parked it far away, and then I walked and hit every single house, pamphlet, handout, pamphlet. And I did one of those every week. I found a new neighborhood in, Pelican Marsh, Pelican Bay. I found ways to sneak into. I got kicked out of it so many because every once in a while you have some guy open up the door and, he just knows you don't live there. Calls in and they, come find me. So that was really the time sequence there was very, very crucial for me. Like I said, school didn't allow me to do much after 2 or 3 o'clock. So I think once I had that time and I could actually figure out what I needed to do to make that work, I started slowly gaining clients and then really started honing in on like, hey, these people, they're busy business owners. They have multi, if not billion-dollar companies. They want convenience. So how do I come into their life and make me just not the guy that washes the car? And I think that's really what kind of catapulted me into the world I'm in today is even though we don't do it, that's not our main focus anymore. Even though you bring your car to us for film, we still are figuring out like, hey, how can I make this convenient for you? Can I drop this back at your house when you're done? So you have to come get it. Do we need to pick it up? Do we need to flatbed it to Sarasota where you live? What can I do? You have a dent, in the door. We don't do dents, but let me orchestrate getting the dent guy coming over, get it out for you so you don't have to take it to 2 different places.
Just make it as easy as possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. And then so as you were building that, so the service at that time for the detailing, you were pretty much at straight detailing, just
straight mobile detailing. Okay. I was either coming to your house to wash your car every week or 2 weeks, or I was detailing your car. A lot of that time was just a one-time random people handing my car cleaned, and I had a very small core people that were, they saw the light at the end of the tunnel for me, and they're like, hey, I'm going to keep you, or they were using somebody else and say, hey, I like your attitude and your hustle. I'm gonna switch over and use you to wash my car every week. I didn't have any water tanks, nothing that we have now. So I was going to your office and hooking up to your water, and I was adding an extra. Now that I look at it, 30 minutes to every job to hook up a pressure washer, take a pressure washer out of a truck. None of the convenience that I had today. So I was really, really, not as productive as someone else would have been, or I may have cleaned the car better, but again, going back to convenience, those guys want time. So if they're driving that car at their office, you may only have 45, 50 minutes before they're like, hey, I got to go. Something came up. So a lot of that time was just nailing down that clientele, finding out what they liked, and just getting my name out there. We didn't spend any marketing money for years because I just went from the next business owner to the next one to the next one. And every once in a while you find the guy that has 12 cars and it's like, hey, this keeps me busy for 2 months. You kick it off with him and then you're like, hey, all right, kick me on a weekly plan. And that was literally how I just brick by brick by brick for, I've been doing this for almost 8 years now, 7, 8 years. So me and Anthony were just talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
How long it's been, literally 7 years, to get to the point we're at today. So
okay,
it goes by fast when you're just in it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so all right, so this is kind of what we talked about too, was you even said it, I might not be the best detailer, but I'm going to outwork you for sure. And I'm going to deliver the best quality product. I mean, it is. So what's kind of been your mindset around that? How did you get that mindset? Because I'm even experiencing the same thing with this stuff. Dude, I'm not the best videographer. I might not be the best interviewer, but I don't know anybody that has put all this stuff together and is just going. Yeah. So how did you get that mindset, and then how did you end up applying that?
For sure. From day one, I've always realized, even when I had no business, that I was going to treat whatever I had as if it was $1 million business. And I think that's step one that people forget. They come into it and they either say, hey, this is going to be a side hustle for me, side gig, and they leave that key component out, that maybe I don't have to be as professional, or maybe I don't have to do this because why did I do that? Because I have 2 clients, not 200. So from day one, I've always operated as, hey, this is a multi-million-dollar business, because that ripples down to every little thing you do, the way you talk to somebody, the way you pick up the phone, how fast you reply to somebody. An email, we don't have any like at Gmail emails. That cracks me up. That's my like pet peeve, is when I see somebody like, oh, plumbing239 at gmail.com. I'm like, dude, it takes $30 a year to take a, whatever your domain is and put it on a email. That's an extreme red flag for me. So it all goes back to like people just not taking their business seriously. And what I found as I got more into this and like really, really analyzing how to make, not just detailing money, how to make some serious money. And we're talking 7 figures, way more than 6 figures. Is that everybody gets stuck in that owner operator. I have 2 guys. Nobody's going to do it like me, mindset, which I totally get, because I spent many, many years in that as well. And usually it's not even your fault. It's the client's fault, because you have an attraction with the client. The client says, hey, I don't want anybody else touching my car. And then that automatically puts you in a slot where you're like, okay, well, Chris doesn't want anybody touching my car, so I gotta do it. I can't ever let my new guy touch it because he'll freak out. When in reality, that's just a small roadblock. That it's a simple 5-minute conversation with Chris saying, hey, here's my guy. He's going to come in and help me. 2 months later, after he's been at your house every day, he's going to be comfortable, washing your car.
Yeah, I trained this guy personally. Yeah. I know all the things that you're looking for. Exactly. I've got it mitigated. He's going to be there on time type stuff.
Exactly.
Like, it's okay. Goose for hub.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and detailing is not a sexy business. It's not something that you usually see and go, oh, wow, that person's making $10, $15, $20 million a year. But there is a handful of companies doing $10, $15, $20 million a year everywhere. You're in Dubai, overseas, here, pretty much in every major state and city, there's a company doing millions of dollars a year, and detailing and protective services. So really when it boiled down to like what is going to make us different, is I understood scaling and what it took to scale. I wasn't in this game. I'm not here to do 7 years of work to make $100,000 a year. There's 60,000 other ways to make $100,000 a year, 200, 300, even $500,000 a year. There's way easier ways to do that than I, was doing.
Sure.
So for me, I understood this is a long-term play, and everybody around me is going to be stuck in that operator. I have 2 guys. They're probably going to be revolving door. They're going to come and go at the next opportunity. And that was, fast forward today, that's most of our market, our competitors. There's really one other competitor here in town that has a staff the size of that we do. We have 16 employees today. Never in my entire life did I think I'd have 16 people doing the same thing. It's just crazy. All the way from detailers to PPF installers, tenners, and then we just are now starting our administrative section as we kind of shift gears into this new venture we're going into. We're starting to look at the back office players, which is important. Going back to the owner operator thing, is I've just always preached working on the business and not in it. When you're in it, you can't see certain things, you can't see problems, you can't see what's coming in front of you. You're just, all you can see is what's happening right in front of me right now, what's getting ready to hit me. You can't see the year or 6 months out when you're inside of that trench every day. You can't answer phone calls, and if you take 6 hours to reply to somebody, they expect your client to take 6 hours to get back to you, because that's how they're perceiving you. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many deals I've closed and taken from people because I've been the first one, or I've responded to their email in 2 minutes, and they're like, wow, that was crazy fast. I did not expect to hear from you till tomorrow. So, just little things like that. That makes the business, again, going back to, I treat every day, every little thing as like, hey, we are going to be $1 billion business now. How do we move like that? Okay. And that's been a huge key component. It's helped us separate ourselves from everybody. People, whether they're a business owner or not, a soccer mom, people see that and they acknowledge it, they understand it, they feel it when they're doing business with you. Yeah,
it's critical, man. And especially as you go to get into these higher dollar amounts. It's
absolutely.
It's almost has to be the foundation. Unless you're like a unicorn company that suddenly just millions of dollars flow in.
Yeah, which is this.
We don't need a sales process.
Yeah, exactly. In our industry, it's super rare because it's an art. Like, you go from doing a detail that's $300 to, our average ticket price nowadays is $5,000 to $6,000 a car. That's an average ticket. We do 2 to 3 full cars a week at $10,000 to $15,000 a pop, and then there's sometimes we're doing 20 PPF cars in a week because we just were pumping out that much. I mean, there's no reason to not do 6 figures a week in business. That's how critical it is. So you really have to find out like how to make that go from, hey, I'm talking to you as I'm making $300 today on your job, and then all the way to, hey, I have somebody that buys a car every other month and they're going to spend $100,000 for me this year just in film. That is a complete different monster to deal with, an interaction process, and all the way down to the systems of how to go from point A, B, C, D to that final product of the customer, receiving that vehicle.
Yeah. And so, all right, so you're an XBEL licensed retailer. I might be saying that wrong.
Yeah, no, that's right.
So with that, right, so you have all these processes in place. These are like high quality products, processes, everything like that. So how did you figure out that you have this higher dollar opportunity that you can scale this from? Because most people I even thought of it like detailing is going and cleaning cars, doing all that stuff. So how did you see an opportunity to get into this higher dollar amount, and what are you seeing as the pathway there? Who are you helping in order to be able to sell like these higher ticket
for sure
items?
Crazy enough, it was dealerships. That was kind of how we got going on the higher end ticket. When we made the transition and getting into a building, which was a huge step for us, we were not offering everything that we offer now. We were really only doing ceramic coating jobs. We were doing detailing at the office and then doing ceramic coating jobs and paint corrections, which is kind of all tied in together. While doing that, we attained our first dealer account, which was Porsche Naples. Porsche Naples was our literally our family, fast forward to now, but we came into there blinded. They were having a lot of issues with vendors. People not doing their job right, how they were going to, how they said they were going to do it, and when they said they're going to do it. So, me going back to the convenience thing, we worked for them about 2 to 3 months, got to know everybody, and then about 4 months in, people really understood like, oh, this kid, means business. So I was actually a client of theirs beforehand, so I knew that I was going to end up working this deal out. So about 4 or 5 months prior to me obtaining this deal, I went and bought a Porsche. It was the most expensive thing I've ever done. I was literally 19 years old, and I wrote a check in cash for a brand new Porsche, $100,000 car. I tell the story to everybody because going back to that point, I was in high school and I had this because I was since 14 working, saving. Figuring out what my next jump was going to be. So I met the sales guy there that gave me the time of day, and his name was Joe, and he's probably going to watch this. And me and Joe are like super close, and they denied. I went to go finance the car, and they denied me. And I said, Joe, you don't know me, but I'm going to be back for this car in about 2 days. You just put it on hold for me. And 2 days later, I walked in and I said, Joe, I want to take that car home today, and I wrote a check. So that was the start to our relationship at Porsche, which really all of a sudden, took our relationship from, hey, this kid's a walk-in nobody to, oh, this kid means business. So we grabbed the account. Them, I bought the car. They're very interested in how I'm going to be, doing their stuff. Again, they've had issues. I've just bought a car from them. All eyes are on me at this point. 3-4 months in, they're just drooling, ecstatic. I mean, every single car we've put in their hands, they get the client coming back saying, this is the best looking thing I've ever got. Even they were having at that time, people were buying Porsches, but then bringing their Lexus back in, that was 3 or 4 years old because their Porsche looked so good. They almost became a detail shop while they were testing us out, if that makes sense, which is crazy. Which is where we started trickling down, like, hey, there's a opening here that these dealerships are either A, leaving tons of money on the table, or they're just not understanding properly what these products are and how they are using them. So we, at the time, were only doing ceramic coating. So basically the process was someone bought a Porsche, it would come to somebody else for the paint protection film, then it'd come to us for coatings, and then it would go to someone else for tint. So now all of a sudden now I realize, hey, these guys are taking a car, driving it 3 different places, requires 2 people at a time. Liability is times 10 out the roof, driving it 3 different places, costs them money to have all these porters drive it around, and the car is going to take an extra week just because it's going from shop to shop to shop, and they're not right next to each other on the same street. One's in Fort Myers, one's in Naples. It's some serious miles and driving going in the car. Why not just have a one-stop shop where they just drive it there once, when it's done, it gets picked up and brought right back to the client or the dealership? So we started doing some research, and at the time there was another person in Naples who was that owned the XBEL license. So XBEL, long story short, is territorial. There's only so many people. You have to apply for it. They have to come out. They fly people down from Texas to check your shop out, basically to say, hey, are you about your stuff, for us to even put our name on your thing. So somewhere between that next 6 months to a year, that person lost their XBEL license, and I got word that was getting ready to happen. So I immediately jumped on it, like everything I possibly could. Took me some time. The guy that lost it actually got terminated because he was doing some shady stuff. So they were doing like an investigation on it, and so it took me some extra time than I would like to grab that. But I ended up getting it, and the crazy part about that is at the same time, this guy that lost a license was the guy that was doing the Porsche account. So as he lost a license, I said, well, hey, I have the account now, the XBEL account. Let's give me a car. Let's try it. So, fast forward, we ended up doing a Porsche here, Porsche there, Porsche here, Porsche here, until they're like, hey, this is going to work. Like this is way better than this other person we've been using. So we basically kicked the other guy to the curb, and then all of a sudden started offering film. And it took us about a year to really learn how to I took 2 guys that I had in my shop within already and said, hey, look, we're going to do this. So we didn't take it on full force. They actually found another person to source some of this stuff out to while we were learning. So I was very transparent with them. I said, hey, look, we're gonna do this for you guys in a year, but I need to have a car a week, or every other week to learn on a client that's not going to be too picky. Client that's going to be picky, send it to Jerry. So it took us about a year within to really get down to what we were doing. Film is an art. It is not something that you can just watch a YouTube video on and put on. It is intense. Yeah. It's like surgery. I mean, there's a piece of dust floating in the air and it gets on the car, that install's ruined. I mean, it's that intense. Your fingers can't be dirty. The car has to be prepped a certain way and clayed a certain way, polished a certain way. There's got to be air filters. The water used has to be filtered, because if not, your water has minerals in it, and the minerals show underneath the film. It is intense. And during all these processes, we didn't know that. So every time we're growing and we're like, hey, what's wrong with this? We're learning. Okay, well, that's the water. Let's go get filtered water. So we filter all the water in the building. The next step and the next issue, faces the air. And then we're all right, let's filter all the air. How do we section everything off? Long story short, fast forward. One day I get a call from my rep. Each shop has a rep from XBEL that kind of covers that area, and they say, hey, we have these guys in Colorado, and they're looking to relocate. It's a father-son. They have about 25 years experience together. And they're looking to relocate on this side of the coast. Would this be something you're interested in? And I said, absolutely, yes. I'll buy him a ticket today. You just tell me how to get a hold of him. So we get a hold of him, talk to him, fly him down for an interview. He stays for about 2 days, does some work, shows us what he's about. Long story short, that was the real jump into the boat. Is we acquired him, and he moved his entire family down. We compensated him to get basically a pickup shop and move all the way over and start right away. So that was the beginning of our PPF department. We immediately hit the ground running, and they have experience. They have 25 years experience. So they took no time to train. They kind of were almost telling us this is how things need to be done, because they knew how to get stuff done. So now we have another team of people that have kind of came from them. They're our head installers still, but they are also now acting as trainers. So now as we're growing and we need 3 or 4 teams of 2, they're training people to come on and learn how to do this, which is really what they wanted to do. They were involved in some businesses up there, but they really didn't want to deal with the headache and all the fun stuff that comes with owning your business. Mm-hmm. So they've fit in perfectly in our environment. They love Florida, obviously. Colorado is nice and cold and sucks. So it's been a really good transition for us to acquire them, and that really just took. Honestly, that took our business to the next level. We went from just a ceramic coating shop to, hey, we're going to offer everything and anything. They knew how to tent.
Yeah.
And that really just catapulted us. Even if we weren't really ready for that yet, we did it anyway and learned just day by day, hey, this is how this is going to go. In that, we realized, going back to the dealership part, that the dealerships, there's nobody in town doing the level that we wanted. So when we do a job, it is at such scrutiny, you would even believe it. What I realized is that the dealerships and the salespeople were not selling it because they had a vendor that was not which I totally understand, because if I'm the sales guy and I have a vendor and 75% of the time the car comes back screwed up and the client's unhappy, it's going to be an immediate inconvenience for me to sell that product to the client. Why would I do it? Doesn't make any sense. If I can almost guarantee you're going to be happy just with the car without anything, I'm going to do that all day long.
Yeah, even avoid the headache later.
Yeah, even though I make money off it, I'm not going to do it. It doesn't make any sense. So in this process of the last 2.5 years, I've realized there's every single dealership, unless you have a Detailers of Naples working with you, you guys are literally leaving millions of dollars a year on the table. And so Porsche was our first system that we really learned and built together, and we worked directly with everybody, all the way down from their social media team to the GM to all the salespeople. We have training sessions with them, and this is where kind of the convenience factor comes in, and just doing what nobody else is doing is we really care about. We want them to win first. We know that for us to win, they have to win, and they have to sell stuff and they have to understand what they're selling, and really trust the product, which is really the key part there that was missing. They could not trust the product.
Yeah, well, and when you go through the sales process, especially something high ticket, as a salesperson, you're dealing with, yes, the commission, but also trying to get somebody to make a decision, make things as simple as possible. And then also, like you said, on the back end, if I'm going to go sell something and I know that the next person's going to come in and this is going to be a nightmare on a high ticket item, that's going to take me, it's going to basically take out a full day of being able to go sell other things. Because I'm going to be sitting in the office just
dealing with it. Yeah.
Dealing with somebody either in my face that's flipping out or somebody on the phone who's like, I just left there. I flew back to New York City and now I'm dealing with this.
Or even worse, the client, that might be the experience that keeps that client from coming back and buying another car, which is really what was hurting them. They don't, or they leave a bad review. It's not really,
it's the recurring.
It's the recurring, absolutely, because that's the last thing they experience. So I might sell you a car, but at the end of the day, the car is the first step. All the other things that happen after it, how you experience the selling process, the finance office, the paperwork, that's what you leave with. When I leave, I say, wow, that was the most smooth, flawless, purchase I've ever done. I'm going to come back to you. But if I leave and I'm like, oh, wow, that PPF was really screwed up. I overpaid for it. They're not willing to fix it. I'm never going to go back there, because even though that's not even your fault, it's my experience. So, it's how do you want to experience this? And that's how, what we really focus on, that customer obsession. Even when the customer's not ours, it's a Porsche Naples or a Ferrari Naples customer, that's still our customer at the end of the day. It's our product. It has our name on it. They're driving around with our name on it.
Yeah.
And once we figured that out, it was full steam ahead pivot. We said, okay, in our industry, it's interesting. You either do, you have shops that do only dealer work, or you do no dealer work. There's really no in between. And what we've really found out how to do is create a middleman in that and do our own lane. And basically what that means is we've been able to figure out how to make our brand and our logos worth so much that when you go into Porsche Naples today and they say, hey, buy our stuff, our logo is on. We made the pamphlet. We have our own content team inside of our office that works with us, not for us, works with us inside of, anything we do, social media, pamphlets, event banners, or when we got to events, tents. You sit down, our name is next to Porsche Naples because our brand and our name now means something. They trust, they know that name, they see it, they say, oh yeah, I've seen this on Instagram, or my neighbor, said they got their car done. So yeah, let me go ahead and do that. So we immediately registered like, hey, we need to, at the same time, build our personal brand, not just be a shop that nobody knows about that's in the background that does dealer work. We needed to be the shop that like the dealerships brag, oh no, we have a Detailers of Naples account. That's who we use. Just like how we brag, hey, we have a Porsche Naples account and a Ferrari Naples account. That's who we do work for. It needed to be vice versa. And so, the two accounts we have, we love everybody there. We work seamlessly with. We love co-branding with them. You'll see us online every day branding with Ferrari and Porsche. That's our favorite thing to do. And again, going back to, we realize like, most of the time when people come in to pitch a dealership, they're just trying to make a bunch of money and get their business. We understand that dealership has to win first. And in return, we win. And they sell more cars and get more happy customers that do it over and over and over again. And in return, we also get their, if you come in and buy a Porsche and you know that we did the work and you're ecstatic with it, there's a high chance you bring back your other cars directly to us. And, that's where we really also gain that plus on our end. So we really came down to just building a system for dealerships, making them make more money, at the same time building our personal brand and our awareness of just, hey, we're a behemoth in the city. And at the same time, we're just trying to find the best people in the profession. We're trying to hire the best PPFers, the best tenors, Going back to customer obsession, how do we make our systems, when you drop your car off, you get text messages and videos of your car, and you get personalized videos of our technicians, and they're showing you the work that's being done. Like, how do we make that experience just so effortless for you that you just say, hey, I need to bring every single car back here.
Yeah, and bringing that value to them first, especially to the dealerships, because then it becomes a real sales funnel, and it's
exactly,
hey, here guys, here's the price, here's what you can sell it for, sell it, make the money on it, send us a steady stream of business, and then you actually can build reliable systems then.
Absolutely.
Like by hiring these guys from Colorado who maybe they're tired of doing the direct stuff, but over time they want to actually train more people, get things moving, and then you can build a sustainable business from that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Okay.
And in today's market, it actually worked out. The 2 years ago, there was cars everywhere. So you walk to a dealership, there's cars everywhere on the showroom. You had plentiful of options. Nowadays, there's no cars. You have to order cars. And the dealerships have really done their part of, before a car even gets here, that stuff's sold. It's done. Mm-hmm. It's on our schedule. Hey, cars come in on the 18th. You're going to have it on the 19th. And clients flying in from Texas to get out on the 22nd. That stuff's pre-sold, no questions asked. They've had it 6 times before. So it really has turned into a system that is just on point. It's been great. So
nice. And so, all right. So, I mean, it's almost self-explanatory at this point, but this stuff all contributed to the growth and the next step. Yep. So I know that you guys are opening a new huge location. I saw the pictures. It looks awesome.
Yep.
And then you even have the Valo Holding Company. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of stuff that you guys have built already, but there's a lot of stuff that's coming up next. So I guess let's dive into the new location.
Sure.
So what's the vision for it? What are you guys planning on doing there?
Yeah, so this is like I feel like I'm restarting, and I'm like so happy and excited about it, because you know how it is. You get not comfortable, but you almost when you feel like you're at the top of the mountain, it's like, okay, who's gonna come touch me? But now it's like, all right, we're restarting, and we're gonna learn everything new again. So I'm like super amped up and excited for it. So the new location is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a pinnacle, in Florida. Like that's what it's going to be. There's going to be very few locations and people that can come in comparison with what we're going to build and what we are building currently. It's underway. Our goal with that is just we want to design a space that is so remarkable that you don't need to do any research on either what this stuff is, who else does it, what are my options. It's you walk in, there's a salesperson that walks you through, hey, this is the best fit for you. How are you using your car? There's a design center so you can see your car wrapped in different vinyl colors. Just all kinds of different things we have that are going to be included in there. 16,000 square feet. It's gonna literally be the biggest shop in Naples. There's very few locations that you could even purchase to be close to that size. At the end of the day, though, we're gonna really hone in on that system with the dealerships and our private clientele. We're already in talks with some of the other dealerships around us. We have Lambo coming to town next year. That will be probably a no-brainer for them. That we're going to be the closest shop at the moment to them. So we're really just going to focus on when you walk in that place. It's just like, wow, I feel like I'm in Europe, or I feel like I'm in Dubai, which is where a lot of this stuff is. When you have facilities that are $5-10 million facilities, they're usually overseas, not in America. They're in a brick and mortar type warehouse down in some city, and it's just rough. And this is going to be a place where you walk in. It's going to be like an OR operating room. It's going to look like our lobby is designed to be like a modern house on the water here in Naples. It's going to have wood floors and planks. It's going to look like a showroom house when you walk in. Glass everywhere. It's just going to be a type of level that nobody has touched here yet. And the market is just, every day, as you know, grows and grows. This is not this is not going to be the height of the wealth and the people that flow down here. And then with Valo, it's going to be a key strategy with us. Going back to just making us non-sexy business sexy. Our plan next year is to go through and start buying up some of these shops that are around us. That same thing. Maybe the owner and operator is tired of dealing with the little stuff. They just want to show up and have a consistent paycheck. They want to work still. They love working, but they just don't want to deal with the clients, and they don't want to deal with the follow-up, and they don't want to deal with all the fun stuff that comes in the middle of that. So we're really looking at the growth by acquisition campaign for that right now, all the way up to Tampa or a Miami or a Sarasota, a Boca, And we're looking at all options because we're just, we're going to take this to a whole nother scale that's not been done before. And we believe we have the clientele and the push and, support by everybody to do it. And then at the end of the day, just focusing on how do we make the best possible product, get it done the fastest, and have the most efficient team, document the process, make the customer feel like, they're number one, and at the same time build a business that, everybody likes watching, enjoying, and observing, from an outsider's view.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, all right. So, and I know that one of the things that we talked about too with some of this stuff is like, it's even beyond just going to the new space. You're possibly starting a hauling piece of this. I mean, so really you've gone from, all right, let me get in here, let me clean your car, let me just make this convenient, to, hey, now we have like a whole system in place to make all of this stuff convenient. And then now we've got a shop to make your entire dealership experience convenient.
Exactly. Go
to this place, and then it's from buying the car to getting it down here to sending it back to wherever you're at.
Storage, anything.
Storage.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the whole philosophy for each step as you grow, as you get into new markets, expand. It's all about the convenience piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I described to you, it's like I always tell people it's like an octopus, right? One leg leads another, and getting into this, we have some stuff that are kind of brainstorming about to do next year that's technology and software based for detailers, that this one extra thing that we're going to be going off and doing, that again, we started as just a shop or a place that I came to your house and washed your car, and now fast forward 7-8 years later, we'll have a software built around for detailers, a place, a training facility. We want to be able to offer a place for people that are in Naples, Southwest Florida, Miami, to come learn how to do PPF, learn how to window tint. There's not many places that, one, are willing to train people and show them techniques, but two, locally, you have to fly to a different state usually to do that stuff. So we believe we can partner. We're going to be partnered with Expel a lot. They're already talking back and forth with us, kind of about the best way to do. They want to do things with us, to open up a facility to bring people in, train them the Expel way, and then even grab them at the end. And if Jerry is and looks like he's got a pretty good pathway of learning film, we might say, hey Jerry, you want a job? And give Jerry a job. So
yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
man. It's cool seeing how this stuff evolves. So I mean, I know you said you never even would have imagined you'd have 16 people, but did you ever have like these kind of visions for this stuff, or was it just
not really? Not really. I mean, my whole family's entrepreneurial, so I think when I was a kid, I just was looking for like, how do I do the next thing, or how do I make come home today with more money than I left? I have like businesses in my blood. I obsess over it. Even on my worst day and most stressful day, I couldn't breathe without some type of business. I'll never work for somebody ever again. I will die trying before I do that. It's a law of mine. And so, I think it's over time. I think I got smarter and took some pieces here and there and said, okay, this is the market I'm dealing with. These are the people I'm dealing with. And then, it takes time to observe those I'm 23 now. So, I mean, I'm still young. I have tons of learning. I don't know everything. I'm just the first person that's going to, I'm up for spending the money and spending the time and trying to learn how to be number one and do the things that people aren't doing. So I think a combination of all that, fast forward to being 23 now, just kind of cultivated this entire idea to where now we're like, hey, we can do some serious, impact some serious people's lives and, help them out with their cars and their garages, and at the same time make some very good money. There's an endless opportunity to make money. And at the end of the day, whether people like it or not, I'm in a business to make money. It's not a charity. So I'm not doing it for fun. That's for sure. I'm doing it to make money. So that's our goal every day is to make money, but at the same time, build something that's real, that's scalable, that's touchable. And that's just, very transparent. I'm a very straight shooter guy. When clients come in, I say, hey, this is how we're going to do it. No BS. I'll send you videos, pictures. Your car won't move here. There's no sketchiness going on. That's just how we roll. So, which people appreciate as well. They don't want the hidden things going on. So
it's hard to build that trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's you're giving people, you're like somebody's coming to you with a huge asset.
Absolutely.
And I mean, maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's a lower percentage than it is for other people,
Right.
even though it's crazy expensive. But that doesn't mean that they're just like, oh yeah, just
they don't downplay
take
it.
this Ferrari, just go ahead, drive it around wherever.
Yeah, we get tons of people every week that they think that's our first Ferrari we've worked on when they drop it off. So we get a handful of those, and then we also get the guys that they've never met us and they've done 12 cars with us. Their assistant brings their cars and they ship them down, and
you just see the work. You get to see the work. You get to see how it comes back, how fast it comes back.
Exactly.
All the transactions are on the level. There's no weirdness about it.
It's the customer obsession piece. I have it right. If you walk in my office, I have it on my board. It literally says customer obsession, and people are willing to pay more than the next guy to pay for that customer obsession and the customer experience.
Yeah,
and they want. My goal is for you to walk around a car show and be like, man, I just had the best experience 2 months ago, a year ago, at this place. Like, let me tell you about it. That's our goal at the end of the day. So,
and then when one of those guys buys a house in Naples and they bring all their cars down, then you'll be the first person they call. All right. So I guess before we wrap up, is there anything else that we should touch on? Anything you want to leave people with?
I think this will be probably coming out as we're making the announcement with all the new places. So there'll be lots of news and information floating out around there, and we're excited to share that with everybody. It's going to be probably 4-month process. We're aiming to be open January. That's kind of our main. We're going to have a big grand opening and shut down the road down there, and have the dealerships come out and DJs and just vendors and really just make a scene. I mean, I'm all about attention. That's a lot of our businesses came from attention. So stay on the lookout for that, and there'll be plenty of all of our social media will be covering the entire project. We're documenting everything from start to finish. Matt's doing a whole almost documentary on the process, which is going to be really cool to watch at the end.
Nice.
So I'm super excited about that. I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm super excited to see where everything goes. And it's like, again, we're restarting in a way. And it challenges me every day to figure out how we're going to do things and do this differently and hire this person to do that. And that's what excites me, as stressful as it gets at times. That's weirdly enough, that's what excites me.
It's a cool problem to solve. Man.
Yeah, exactly. So
nice. All right. Well, thanks for coming and doing this.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great time, and I think everybody will enjoy watching this and hearing our story. We don't get to tell our story a lot, so unless you know me or have been following my up close journey, this will be a good piece for everybody. So
yeah, hell yeah, man. I'm glad I got to be the one to help you tell it.
For sure.
Sweet.
Sure.
All right. Thanks, everyone. This episode is brought to you by Southwest Florida Podcasts. If you're a business in Southwest Florida and you want to use a podcast to grow your business, scan the QR code on your screen or visit the link in the show notes at www.swflpodcast.com.